Okay. So yeah, I guess we're going to be here for a little while yet. But, like I said earlier, yeah, we're not... So, yeah, very unlikely that we're going to finish the game today. I've got having dinner with family tonight, and then I got an extra shift at work tomorrow, followed by board games, followed by my L5R campaign on Saturday, followed by... I might have some time to stream on Sunday, but other than that, it might not be till next Wednesday when we get another good long session of this game. But, you know, I still got a few hours yet today to grind up, or start grinding up, if I can remember which way this damn dungeon is. I think it was this way. Nope. This was the opposite of the way to the dungeon. And yeah, it looks like we have no use for bench warmers, so I might as well... Actually, yeah, we should do that then. I should decide which party members I want to grind up and which ones I want to leave on the bench. I should do that, but honestly what I'm going to probably end up doing in the end is just leveling up everyone for the sake of seeing their promoted forms. So yeah, we're going to have a few hours to just chill out and, yeah, chat with you guys, I guess. Good job, Dantares. It'll be kind of interesting to see the different parties and how they sort of contrast with each other. It seems like we've had almost identical party compositions throughout the 3 scenarios. Like, I think pretty much every party has had one of everything. We've had 2 archers, or 2 of the different types of archers, a ninja, a beastman of some kind, a flyer of some kind, a priest, 2 mages, and some kind of weird robot. Yeah, I gotta say, I'm not a huge fan of... This is part of the reason why I've kind of become less of a fan of the JRPG genre over the years, is just because grinding is not a thing that I enjoy doing. Especially the older games. The really old JRPGs required a bunch of this type of stuff. Most of them weren't this overt about it. Or, yeah, where the guy literally just tells you, yeah, you're gonna need to grind until everyone gets promoted. We got a side dungeon for you. Have at it. With that said, like, I kind of, in the tactical RPG genre, I generally don't mind it as much. Like, grinding levels in Final Fantasy Tactics is kind of alright, because you're still doing a strategic battle as you do it. That's not entirely true, though, because if you're being efficient about your grinding in that game, you're just ganging up on an enemy and just speed breaking him over and over again. But until you get to that point, you know, you're actually fighting tactical battles and all. So this would be alright if it were actual tactical battles, but it's mainly... It's not really what's going on here. We're just cutting down enemies and watching numbers go up. You know, it's weird. Describing the game, like, I kind of think of it as just one game split into 3 parts, but that's not really exactly what it is. It almost is more like a game and 2 sequels, like a actual trilogy of games, just in the way that they've been refining things over time. Like, I think I'm pretty confident at this point that the character models have gotten better between games, or certainly there was a big jump up in quality from Scenario 1 to Scenario 2. And I think I can even see it here, like just looking at the party members in the Symbiost Force. They don't look quite as fancy as the the Median and the Julian party members. Looks like Elder is going to need a bunch of levels. You know, I really wish we could get a setup like in Scenario 2, or in Scenario 1, the Scenario 1 dungeon it was, where you just have infinitely respawning enemies. See, the problem I found with Dragon Quest games is for the early bits of them, you didn't necessarily need to grind, and that's kind of alright. That's the thing, the real problem with JRPGs isn't that they require grinding or anything, because not all of them necessarily do. The real problem with them is that they're just brain-dead games in general that don't require much in the way of real strategy or anything. Actually, do I have a melee weapon with this guy? No. Oops. And so grinding becomes... And so the reason that JRPGs require grinding when they do is because there's no amount of strategy that's going to get you through the fights. Like in a normal game, it's like, oh, I'm having difficulty with this fight, so I need to play better or get good or whatever. Dark Souls works that way. You don't have to grind your way up necessarily. You can just get good, and then you win the fight. But there is no... Yeah, because there's no real strategy in most JRPGs, your only recourse is to grind. It's like, yeah, I need to beat this boss, and he kills my guys faster than I can heal my guys. There's no amount of strategy that's going to get me out of this. I need to grind to get the numbers up to par so I can actually win this fight. And tactical RPGs, like I said, kind of get around that problem because you actually do have real strategy. Like it's not just like I kind of showed off there. Honestly, I think I could maybe even, if I were really put my mind to it and played smart, I think I could even win that first fight with the Symbiost Force on the final battle. Even with my crappy party members doing like 5-10 points of damage at a time. If I brought in like a couple MP restoration items, kept up with the healing and stuff, I think I could actually do it. It would be tedious as hell, though, which is the reason why I'm not doing it. But yeah, totally an option. Also, one thing I need to be mindful of here is the weapon levels of my party members. So yeah, he's got level 3. He still needs to level up with the spear. I really wish there were a way to check the weapon levels of all of the weapons they've got. She still needs work. Or really, the one I want to know right now is Sybil. Yeah, she's only got level 1 of the spear. Pretty sure that even these guys, non-optimized as they are, yeah, they've all got max levels with their main weapon, so I think we'll also take this opportunity to grind up our side weapons. I have played Valkyria Chronicles. That one's an interesting one in that I really like the leveling system in Valkyria Chronicles, because it avoids the whole experience micromanagement aspect of most tactical RPGs that I really dislike. Honestly, when you look at them, most tactical RPGs, when it comes to long-term strategy, it's more about managing XP distribution than it is actually winning fights in an efficient manner. And yeah, Valkyria Chronicles actually bypasses that entirely. You get more XP by getting good ranks on the fights, by completing them in a very efficient and expedient manner. Is this gonna get him? It got him. But yeah, that's kind of the nice thing about RPGs and action RPGs in particular, where it's you have that option where if you can get good and just you know, get through a difficult battle just by your skill and by improving at the game. Like, yeah, those are kind of your two options for, say, any given Dark Souls boss battle. You either practice the fight and learn how it works and execute it well enough to win, or you just go out and grind until you can power your way through it. It's nice, I think, having both of those options for both types of players. Yeah, we're not going to level up fast enough on these maps with this piddling number of enemies. We need more enemies on these maps if we're going to... This is not a good leveling map. I think we should just power forward until we find a better grinding map. Although the thing is here, these guys still give us a lot of XP. And they're very, very easy to kill. This doesn't look like ground, does it? It looks like I'm like inside some pool of green radiation or something. So Dark Souls kind of has a few options for players who don't want to learn how to play the game well. You've got summons where you can just do online co-op with it, which is kind of a different style of play entirely, and I can see why people wouldn't accept that as a solution. Or you can just grind up souls, or you can look at a walkthrough to tell you how to expediently spend your souls for maximum benefit. So you got a few different options there. I actually think Dark Souls could benefit from an easy mode. To be honest, I think the hardcore get good crowd when it comes to Dark Souls, who say that like people that the games are all a bit about difficulty and you can't experience Dark Souls properly without having the experience of you know, a difficult game and all that. I think those people are Philistines, personally. There is so much more. See, look at this guy's face. It's so much less detailed than the faces of the models in later scenarios. But yeah, there's so much more to appreciate about Dark Souls than the difficulty. I think there's a lot you can still get out of those games. Even if you, frankly, like turn on like an invincibility cheat just to explore the world and soak in the setting and the backstory and all that. Hey, he's even better in Japanese than in English, I think. You know, I think it might have actually been the same in Japanese as in English. I think that's the same voice acting. They just kept it the same for English. Yeah, I'm falling behind on the conversation here. As far as Valkyria Chronicles, it's actually not really a fantasy setting at all. Yeah, it's more like World War I steampunk type stuff for Valkyria Chronicles, which I appreciate. It's, yeah, definitely not your typical fantasy setting, and I like that it isn't your typical fantasy setting. Also, just the gameplay systems wouldn't work unless you had primarily ranged weapons, so you kind of need guns for the tactical system in Valkyria Chronicles to work the way it's supposed to. I never played any of the sequels to that game. Now that I think of it, all of the sequels to Valkyria Chronicles were all on PSP, weren't they? So yeah, I never played any of those. So yeah, if you're looking for PSP recommendations, I've never tried them myself, but yeah, probably try Valkyria Chronicles 2. This is a good grinding map too. We get the full XP for hitting these guys, and it takes a couple hits, so yeah. Question is, are they actually going to hurt us back? Which is funny, because I think Valkyria Chronicles 4 is the only one that's actually on PC right now. The hell? Could have sworn I heard her say Elvis there. Is that Thanatos here? The ghost of Elvis? This is actually not going to take long at all to get everyone up to level 20. Like, if we only care about getting them to level 20, this is, yeah, not going to be difficult in the slightest. Like, at this rate, maybe, like, another 2 or 3 maps to get everyone up to speed. Of course, then we got to get the bench warmers up to speed also. Show off all their cool promotions and stuff. Yeah, these guys still do no damage. What I actually think I'm going to do is just try to clear the dungeon. Oh, wow, seriously? Yep, that's a full-on, yeah, golem, just like earlier in the game. He doesn't throw the rock. But he does the tremor still. That guy's got a hole in his head. And he's spazzing out. I'd probably spaz out like that too if I had half of my skull missing. Oh, that sucks. Actually, yeah, this map, like I said, is way better for grinding, because we got the party split up. We don't have the slow pokes falling behind. Ooh, maybe don't put Grace in front anymore. I don't know what to do with Obright. I guess we'll just send him down the middle. Oh, I just realized this is the same map layout as the previous map. I don't know that I'm a fan of that. Or you know what? I can't remember. I know that Synbios was using rapiers for a lot of our Scenario 1 playthrough, so I want to double check and see that he's... Okay, yeah, good. He's got swords at level 3. Yeah, this is going to be an annoying map to try and level up on. If it's just all this map, all the way down. Anyways, I was starting to talk about something earlier. Oh yeah, just the notion of that they've been improving the Shining Force 3 series as it's gone on. Oh, this guy needs healing. I think we've got extra antidotes to spare among the whole party. Yeah, overall, I'd say that every Shining Force game I've played has been better than the last. I liked 2 a lot better than 1. I liked 3 somewhat better than 2. And I've been enjoying each successive scenario in 3 more than the previous one. I don't know, at this rate, maybe the Game Boy Advance one would actually be really good to try. The one that I'm really interested in right now, though, is actually Shining Force CD. I don't think I'm going to play it like right after we're done with this one. I think we'll take a break from the Shining Force 3 thing. What we've been playing, probably, yeah, a good quarter of the year. Yeah, it's been 3 months since we started playing Shining Force games here on the channel. So yeah, I think I'll take a break from Shining Force and try something completely unrelated. Once we're done with Shining Force 3. Something completely unrelated, like, I know Fire Emblem is one of the games I'm considering right now. Ooh, turn order list would also be, yeah, a tremendous improvement, I think. Yeah, just quality of life improvements, like, yeah, inventory management, shopping, that kind of stuff would all be great improvements. Holy shit, Justin is garbage. Look at his stupid little face, too. He's angry that he's leveling up. What's with this guy? The thing is, they haven't really dramatically altered the fundamentals of the Shining Force games. It's like, each one's been better than the last, but it's been that kind of iterative style of sequel, where all the fundamentals... Like, you could argue that they're all the same game. They work very, very similarly as far as the fundamental mechanisms go. But it's just enough quality of life improvements and a few new features here and there to... yeah, just make things interesting and make each one better than the last. I generally prefer that style of sequel in general, I think. Where you have, yeah, series of games that are just... where each entry is just a minor improvement, just a minor cleanup. A small step forward from the previous one. Like, the Mega Man games work like that. Mind you, it could be argued that those games kind of lost their way after a little while. But yeah, actually, the first few Mega Man games are a good example of that in action. If you look at just superficially, Mega Man 1, 2, and 3 on the NES look like basically the same game, but they actually have substantial improvements from one game to the next, just subtle changes in the way that the controls feel, to the layout, or just the general structure of the games. I'm actually going to move her up to... Oh, did he not? Oh, he got poisoned again, didn't he? You fucking idiot. Yeah, Pokemon's another good example. Anyways, yeah, so, I don't know, maybe this is a controversial opinion, but I actually don't like Mega Man 2 that much, and I'm surprised that it's widely regarded as the best in the series. I don't think we've seen this one. I think this is our first Heavenly Fire that we've seen out of her. Never got to see that one back in Scenario 1. But, yeah, Mega Man 2, dramatically overrated, in my estimation. It's just so friggin' janky. There's, like, weird stuff. Especially the Wily Fortress stuff. It's just not solid. There's just some it's fine once you learn it, but it's annoying. It's an annoying game to play through. Your first time through it. There's all sorts of just weird, annoying little quirks you need to learn. The friggin' dragon fight with the slowdown and all of that, and one mistake and you're dead, and if you fuck it up, you've got to farm weapon energy. Same with the, yeah, the trap. What do they call it? I forget what it's called, but the you know, the gunner trap in, I think it's Wily 3, where again, if you fuck it up, you've got to go farm weapon energy. I can't believe that that's acceptable to people. That is all in the game, and people still say, oh, it's the best one. No, it's just you've learned to deal with it. And so the terrible parts aren't terrible for you anymore. Whereas Mega Man 3 is actually exceptionally solid. I think Mega Man 3 was the one where they finally nailed the formula. Yeah, Mega Man 3 is just better than its predecessors in every possible way, I think. The slide was a great addition to the game. I haven't really followed core Pokemon. The Pokemon games that I played the most of were Gen 1 and 2. As far as Gen 2, I could certainly agree as far as Gen 2 over Gen 1. Pokemon Gold was just better than the original in every way. Couldn't tell you as far as the later entries. Again, that was kind of got bored of the whole JRPG thing after that and stopped playing them. Tried to get into, I think, one of the ones on DS, and I didn't care for it at all. Oops. Oh, I thought he'd be in range there. Ah, the frickin' optical illusion there. Yeah, Boo Beam, that's the one I was thinking of, yeah. Yeah, Wily, the final Wily fight is, yeah, kind of the same thing in theory, although it's not quite as bad, since it's just an easy fight. Although, yeah, if you do fuck it up, then yeah, you gotta go out and grind weapon energy. Now, I don't think Gen 1 is bad enough that it's unplayable. Like, I don't know if I'd go that far. Like, it's got enough of the core. Like, Pokemon is a, yeah, franchise where I think they got it right the first time. Like, all the fundamentals are there enough in the first game to make it good, you know? Mega Man is the other thing where I think it took them a couple tries to get it good. Shining Force, I don't really like the first game very much. It took them the second try to make it good. Yeah, I guess I never really dove deeply into the mechanics of Pokemon, so there could be some busted stuff in that game for all I know. Actually, for that matter, speaking of busted stuff in the original game, the original Final Fantasy, like, there's tons of stuff in that game that just doesn't work, and that's another series where it took them a few tries to get it right. Honestly, I think Final Fantasy III is the first Final Fantasy that's even remotely playable. Oh, that is such an awesome feature! Yeah, where the dude is just gonna hold on to my items that I can't carry for me. That's great! But yeah, the whole thief class in the original Final Fantasy just doesn't work. Thieves just don't do any of the things they're supposed to do. They can't evade any better than any other class. They don't help you run away any better. All of these, like, touted features of the thief class in FF1 just straight up do not work. And then, yeah, FF2, they fucked it up the other way, where you can grind up, I think, was that the one where it's like a... Yeah, it had a weird leveling system where you just gain stats as you exercise that stat. Or Final Fantasy II was basically a romancing saga game, basically. It's kind of part of that line. Where, yeah, instead of gaining levels, you improve your stats by exercising them. So, like, every time you take a hit, your HP, max HP goes up a little bit. Every time you attack, your attack goes up a little bit. And I believe there was a glitch where you would actually it would count as using the weapon just by selecting it. And then you could cancel when it comes time to choose your target. So you just, like, choose attack, cancel, and you just keep doing that to jack up your stats. Something like that. And it's, yeah, just ridiculous that something like that would have made it into an actual... Or I guess just in the NES days in general, there was a... in spite of the Nintendo seal of quality, there were kind of lower standards generally, I think, about... I don't have any healers on this half of the map. Nobody is going to be able to dispel that poison. Actually, I guess, yeah, Symbio's Force only had one healer at all. Oh no, we got Irene over here. She's our other healer. I guess we want to meet up with her as fast as we can. Or do I just want to stab the worm? We'll probably win this fight before she dies anyways. Yeah, you can beat up your own guys to get your HP up as well in FF2. Did I ever get a spear for Eldar here? I remember I talked about it all the way through Scenario 1, but I don't think I ever actually did it. Nope. I never actually played any of the remakes of the Final Fantasy games. Or I owned the one of FF3 on DS, but I never played much of it. I think around the time the DS was released, the whole DS era was where I realized that I didn't like JRPGs anymore, because I bought a bunch of them and I never played any of them for more than a few hours. Actually, that version of FF3 is on Steam, isn't it? The fuck is an Ouya? I've heard the name as like bandied about as kind of a meme on the internet. Is that a real console? It was like a Kickstarter thing, but I thought it was like a Kickstarter flop that had never come out. But, like, did it ever actually come out? Did they actually... Are there actually Ouyas out there in the wild? What is it even? Like, does it just play iPhone games on your TV? Like, yeah, what kind of games... Are there Ouya exclusives out there that I'm gonna have to play on the channel someday? Because the notion of playing... Yeah, mobile games on your TV does not sound appealing to me in the slightest. Why are there so many poisoning enemies in this fucking dungeon where I've only got 2 people on one half of the map who know antidote? This is insane. No, we're done with this. We're not... No more stingworms, please. We're moving on. I'm just gonna rush the boss here. We can't even proceed past here. My guys are gonna... Because poison doesn't get cleared after the battle. We're gonna have to exit out and go to the priest and heal everyone. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna keep grinding up as much as we can, and once people are about to die, we'll just egress out and come back in for another grinding session. Oh, God. Is that actually what the controller looks like? This looks like a joke. Like, it actually has... The actual buttons on this fucking thing are O-U-Y-A, but they're in a weird order where you would never... Like, to look at the thing, you would think that it was called the Yuao. It's like they spelled it backwards on the button faces. It's got that awful Xbox stick layout, too, that I hate. Ugh. Okay, so the controller's not as big as it looks, at least. It looks massive on the screenshot there, but if it's smaller, I suppose that's all right. I don't agree with you, but honestly, it's mostly just because I play retro games so much. So I'm just used to the deep... Like, almost every game I play that I like playing a lot uses the D-pad, and I want the D-pad in that nice, comfortable position. I probably agree with you that for left-stick games, like left-stick-driven games, that's the better position for it. You'd think that a person who cares about video games at all would have different controllers for different types of games. Oh, he learns Inferno too. Yeah, he's just the same character as, What? Oh, he's got the shurikens, so yeah, he can't... Son of a bitch. So we need to get her... Actually, no, we're not even going to bother antidoting people. We're just going to win this map before anything else bad happens. Retro games with the keyboard? Actually, I used to do that all the time, too. Mega Man X is surprisingly comfortable with the number pad. Or I don't know if you do it the same way I do. I know kind of the standard for indie games on keyboard is you go with the... you do like the arrow keys and then either ZXC or ASD. The way I used to do it back in the day is I used to do it on the number pad, so I'd have my arrow keys, only instead of the down arrow, I would do the number 5. So my arrow keys would be 8, 4, 5, 6 on the number pad, and then I had like 1, 7, 0, and then my home key up above that. So I got a finger on each key, which was really good for dashing in, yeah, Mega Man X. That was actually how I learned that the default controller layout for Mega Man X is actually garbage. Because yeah, it's so handy not having to move your thumb to dash and jump at the same time. What the hell? Eldar is actually getting less XP for hitting the boss here than he is for the sting worms. Yeah, this is kind of the part where leveling becomes more trouble than it's worth. She's actually gonna fucking die here. If she takes another poison sting. Hopefully we'll win the fight before that happens. Yeah, personally, I've never liked MMOs specifically because I hate other people. Or at least playing video games with them in like a social setting. So that's always been my problem with MMOs. Has nothing to do with WASD for me. So yeah, that's most of her HP gone, and we kind of need to win this pronto before that worm kills her. Because if she dies, I literally can't heal the poison off anyone before, and they're just poisoned for the rest of the dungeon. This guy's still level 13. What the hell are you doing? He can't even three-shot these guys with a crit. Okay, please kill this guy with this punch right here. Please. Thank you. Okay, a little bit close there, but we made it. You're paralyzed. How is that? How is this allowed? Okay, can we get in range here? Oh, I think we can. Nope. So boost punch sounds a lot better in Japanese. So Sybil's dead after her next turn, I think. Yeah, we're gonna have to egress out here. Honestly, if I can't win the fight this round, I might just egress out with Synbios's turn. Or we could just take this guy out. Where the hell is Synbios, anyways? Oh, cool, we're just getting all the stat-up items for clearing this dungeon. Are these repeatable? Will we keep getting the MP honey and the HP bread every time we clear these floors? Because that would be pretty sweet. No pun intended. You know, because of the honey and all. Yeah, it's the same frickin' map every time. Oh, that's obnoxious. I think we're gonna port out and promote the guys we can promote. And then, yeah, we'll swap... Actually, let's see. I think we got, what, 4 party members on the bench? So if we can promote 4 dudes, that would let us bench the promoted people. Oh, Hagane is so close. That's not his name. Yes, it is. I actually got his name right. We'll go for 1 round. Try to level up 1 person. And then we'll egress out, and then we'll have 4 people to put on the bench. Actually, yeah, we can actually, since we're all clustered up this time, we can spend some time antidoting people. Oh, she doesn't actually know antidote. What the fuck? Okay, fine. She's not going to get another turn anyways, so we'll just resist people for the XP. Who knows? Maybe it'll make them resist the poison damage. Actually, we're just going to try to tie all of the different topics together here. So going back to the notion of incremental improvements to a series over time, that's part of the reason that I'm suddenly interested in Fire Emblem. It's because of the new game. I didn't realize that Fire Emblem had been an ongoing thing over all of these years. So yeah, the Fire Emblem series would have had a long time to kind of iterate upon itself and make improvements over many, many years. Like, that series has been going on since the NES days, and pretty steadily. There's been like a new Fire Emblem game on average, I think every 2 or 3 years since like 1991. So surely that series has got to be excellent by now, and I hear a lot of rave reviews of the newer Fire Emblem games. So I'm actually quite interested now to get acquainted with it. There's a lot to get acquainted with, too. I have played almost none of the Fire Emblem series, so there's a lot for me to dig into there. I could honestly probably, between Shining Force and Fire Emblem, I could probably just spend this entire year just acquainting myself with all of these strategy RPG series that I missed out on back in the day. And, you know, I like that they've added that myself. I'm all for accessibility and whatnot in, or not even accessibility options. That makes it sound like people who like easy games are mentally disabled or something. Which I guess there's an argument, but anyways. Or he's already level 20. I shouldn't be wasting my time having Dantares take his turns here. If I do play a Fire Emblem on the channel here, though, I will emphatically not be playing with permadeath disabled. That was kind of the thing that turned me off of the series in the first place, is just the notion that I've got to redo the whole fight as soon as one person dies. But that's not actually true. They actually give you a bunch of spare party members in Fire Emblem games. The game's kind of balanced around the notion that you will lose party members periodically, and that's fine because you've got all these bench warmers ready to take their place. And also, just I think I'm a lot better at strategy games these days than I was back in the day. So I don't think it's going to be as much of an aggravation this time around. See, I thought that that was the thing that impressed me too. I've been reading up a little bit on the Fire Emblem games. From as far as I can tell, the whole romance and marriage aspect has been around since the Super Nintendo days. Like, I think the second Super Nintendo game introduced the support system, and I think the third one lets you like even marry your party members together and have them produce offspring. So yeah, that kind of thing's been around forever in the Fire Emblem series, as far as I've researched. Again, I'm not super familiar with those games. Mind you, the way that games tend to approach those sorts of game mechanics is a bit different these days than it was back in... There's a lot of skeevy games out there these days that have kind of a weird... I don't know how to describe it. Just like the whole waifu culture surrounding anime these days. It comes across as very pandery these days in a way that it may not have necessarily back in the day. There was less of that sort of pandering to otaku subculture back in the SNES games. It certainly has been around since the SNES days, but there was less of it, and it took kind of a different, it takes less of a dignified form nowadays when you see that sort of thing in games, largely. So it could be that they, just go about those kinds of aspects of gameplay in a less dignified fashion, we'll say. Like, for example, was there not a minigame in, like, I think one of the DS Fire Emblem games where you, like, you rub your female party members to gain companionship points with them or something? Like, I could totally see people being upset with some dumb shit like that being included in their Fire Emblem games. Was that... Okay, yeah, I missed that, yeah. Yeah, I know that there were... In fact, I remember there was a big debate around that as far as, you know, Nintendo Treehouse censorship and all of that. And just to, I don't know, might as well put out where I stand on that. I actually don't mind them cutting that kind of stuff from US releases of games. I think I come from the position that it's like, okay, it's tough. In general, I actually appreciate the point that you know, games are art, and there is some value in preserving the designer's original vision for these games. So I do certainly get that argument. On the other hand, sometimes designers do stupid things to their games, and it's not a bad thing to unstupidify them, especially when it comes to, appealing to a broader audience. Like, you just can't have that kind of bullshit, and maybe that will fly in Japan, but not over here. I think it's entirely reasonable for them to take that stuff out of North American Fire Emblem releases. Am I going to lose followers for saying that? I've noticed that I've actually lost subscribers on YouTube on certain videos where I make just certain potentially controversial comments like that. Like, for example, I got 2 dislikes and lost 2 subscribers on a Mighty Number 9 video. It was my Mighty Number 9 Let's Play. It's my most disliked, my most ratioed video on YouTube, where I make the bold claim that Mighty Number 9 is better than half of the Mega Man X games, including Mega Man X3. I never got any mean comments or anything for that, but I did get dislikes and unsubscribes. Oof. See, I liked Mighty Number 9. It was a decent little game. I didn't like it for $120 or anything. I would certainly be mad if I paid $120 for it. Yeah, Mighty Number 9 was not a great game. It was like a borderline good game, I would say. Mighty Number 9 was like borderline good. Ooh, I don't want Dantares to die. We gotta get out of here. Yeah, I think Symbios is gonna take his next turn. Egressing out of here. We're not going to clear this dungeon on this run, not with this many people poisoned. If he crits this, we might actually kill Cerberus. Pretty close. Oh, they actually have gay romance in a Fire Emblem game. You know, I was not sure that kind of thing would fly in Japan. I'm actually impressed that they would put that in there. And you know, they could I could kind of see both arguments too. It would be entirely justified for them not to include that kind of stuff in a medieval setting, just because when you're looking at like a fantasy medieval setting, a big part of marriage and romance is, you know, continuing the family line and all of that. Like, breeding is like the whole reason. That's what marriage is for back in the day, and romance and all of that. So I can totally see the excuse for not including that type of stuff in Fire Emblem games. And yet they didn't take that easy out. They actually put it in there. So yeah, that's fine for them. I mean, you know, it's fine for a lot of people. I'm kind of indifferent myself as far as when it comes to issues of just demographic representation in games. I do not mind it either way. I'd say, I guess that's maybe, I could go a bit stronger than that. I am nominally in favor of, yeah, just different groups being represented in games if that's what people want. Why the hell not? Like, if it doesn't bother me, and it means something to other people, then you might as well throw it in there. There's no downside to it. Oh, this would be a juicy Thunderbolt right here. But, yeah, I got too many poisoned dudes. Although this is free. I can just kill this guy for free, and then Synbios starts the next fight, and then we TP out anyways. No! Oh, no. Oh, that's not good. I'm gonna lose some party members now. Because, yeah, we got a few poisoned people who are, yeah, not gonna survive their turns. Oh, Synbios, what are you doing, man? Okay, if we heal... Actually, I think all these guys are fine. Yeah, it's just our guys on the other side of the map away from our antidoter who need healing here. Go figure. Irene actually needs levels, so I'm going to have her finish this guy off. Okay. I don't know. People can like what they like. Like, I don't mind people... honestly, I said that Mega Man 2 was overrated. I don't think there's any such thing as a game being overrated. People like what they like for the reasons that they like them, so I'm perfectly fine with people putting stuff on a pedestal or whatever for reasons that I personally think are kind of dumb. But whatever, people like what they like. Okay, so we managed to save Sybil. Oh yeah, those guys were resist. Oh, I think Dantares is going down here. Hey! Okay. Now we're faced with the same decision. He's actually gonna die here if he misses this shot. But we're regressing right yeah, it's just... I'm fine for them to want that. I don't really understand it myself, just as someone who's, like, consumed a lot of foreign culture. Like, I grew up watching, like, a bunch of Japanese films. Like, that was what I did as a kid, was I just rented... Or, not as a kid, but as a high schooler. I was, like, mostly used to foreign films where there's, like, nary a white dude to be in sight, and it never bothered me. I've never had any difficulty identifying with characters of different backgrounds, skin colors, sexualities, whatever. That sounds kind of nasty, though. It sounds like I'm throwing shade on people who do care about that stuff. I don't understand it personally, the desire for representation or whatever, but I'm fine with people to want it, and I am willing to assume good faith on their part that there's no nefarious reason, like they're secretly racist against white people or whatever is or against straight people. Racist against straight people, yeah. I'm not going to presume bad faith on the part of people who want that kind of stuff. I'm sure there's some good reason that I'm just missing because of the kind of person I am or whatever. Just because there's so much call for it out there. That's kind of the way I think about things. Like, if there's a massive call for these types of... Yeah, for LGBT and POC representation in games, then I'm not going to presume that all the people who want that stuff are just idiots or bad people or something for wanting it. If there's a massive call for that kind of stuff, then there's some, presumably some good reason for it, for people to be wanting that stuff, so they might as well have it, you know? So what are we going to do? We're going to promote our dudes now. Yeah, I kind of already... Yeah, that's fine if that's your position. I think I already kind of explained how I disagree a little bit. I think it's fine for people to want what they want. They can... If it matters to people, then it matters to them, and it's, you know, fine for them to praise. Like, it's certainly an uncommon thing to see. Like, it's... People are right when they say, like, whether it matters or not to you or not, it is true that these different groups are underrepresented in games. Oh yeah, I guess we just get everyone auto-promoted now. So with it being such a rarity to see good representation of these groups in games, I think it's fine to call out and recognize games that do it well. Not being a connoisseur or a person who is overly concerned about that stuff, I don't think I'm a great judge to be an arbiter of what constitutes good or bad representation in games. In fact, I said a bunch of stuff on that regard during my Time Spinner stream, and I kind of reconsidered my opinions on that game afterwards. At the time, I thought Time Spinner was a example of a game that felt super pandery with its approach to representation and inclusiveness, and went a bit overboard and ham-fisty with it. And then after sort of reconsidering it further, I thought, you know what, it's probably fine. Like, I might be right, but I might be wrong, and I'm not an expert, so it probably doesn't matter what I think about it anyways. Honestly, even just not making a moral issue of it, just as far as just aesthetics go, it's a cool thing in general to see a diverse cast in games. And I'm not even talking like the political term diversity and inclusion or whatever. Like, I think it's cool that Shining Force here, that, for example, Shining Force here is a game where you've got an army full of, yeah, okay, 3 white dudes. That's, whatever, take it or leave it. You got 3 white dudes as the protagonists of the 3 scenarios. But then as the supporting cast, you've got a horseman, a deer girl, an angry deer girl. What expression would you call that? She looks super weird now, looking face on to the camera. Anyways, you got, yeah, another centaur guy. You got a dwarf. Yeah, Japanese lady. Even if she doesn't look it, I believe she's supposed to be, Asian and all of that. Is she a beast person? I don't know. You've got a lot of horse people in the Synbios team. Yeah, you got a bird person, a bird lady even. A lot of horse people in the original party. I feel like the Julian army had a lot more... Okay, we got this weird little gremlin. Got a wolfman, ninja. Yeah, a lot of Asians and horse people in the Synbios party, I guess. But you look at the Julian party, and it's like almost every party member was of some weird different, some different species of some kind. And that's an appealing thing, to just see a bunch of characters who don't look like every other character. Right, we wanted to go to HQ, and... Right, so we're going to I can't really afford to transfer Grace south, though, because she's our only person who knows Antidote. And there's a lot of poisony dudes. Okay, Mascarin's already promoted. Khan's going to take a lot of work. He's probably not worth the trouble. Sybil's an easy swap out for Noon, I think. I gotta hear Noon's Japanese voice for sure. Did I only get 2 people out of that? Or no, I got 3 of them, but I can't lose Grace. Actually, yes, I can. We're just gonna not go much farther. Yeah, we just won't go past the Poison Worm map. Thank you, Dusty Rhodes. I mean, he could be, for all I know. You know, yeah, in contrast to Fire Emblems, there is, like, no romance at all in this game, is there? There's, like, no... Or, there's... What's his face? Hedva and the other guy. They're a couple. Other than that, I don't think there's any... And I guess Domeric and his 4 wives. Other than that, I don't think there are any romantic relationships between major characters in this game at all. Then after we get everyone ground up, the question is going to be how many... David, that was his name. Gonna have to decide what we're gonna do about the items for all these people. So yeah, that's actually a stark contrast to the Fire Emblem series, where that's kind of been a main feature, is basically shipping your party members with each other since the SNES days. Whoops. What the fuck was that? Okay, I gotta see if I can replicate that. I got him up on the roof there, and I don't know how I did it. Okay, what if I just hold up once we come out the door? Huh, that is weird. Looks like it was a one-time thing. Oh well. He was up on the roof there for just a split second, but then I turned him around. I mean, isn't that a Gerudo thing in the Zelda series too? There are no male Gerudo, other than Ganondorf, apparently. Or at least that's the thing in Ocarina of Time. They might have changed the... might have changed it for the later games in the series. Or I think every Zelda game has basically its own kind of independent world, essentially. So I'm not sure if, like, the Gerudo... the canonical Gerudo of Ocarina of Time are necessarily the same way it works in the later games. It's been so long since I played Final Fantasy X, I can't even remember what a Guado is. Or is that the blue furry dudes? I mean, there's like a big retcon-y timeline of Zelda games. I'm not convinced that they were originally meant to be taken as such, though. Like, I don't think that when they made Ocarina of Time, they were thinking where it fits in the timeline compared to Link's Awakening and Link to the Past. I think it's just fans drove themselves crazy trying to explain how they're all connected with each other, and Nintendo just decided to throw them a bone and say, yeah, sure, it's all connected. Here, this game follows this game, which splits off the time. It's stupidly convoluted. I have not followed the Zelda timeline discussion at all, to be honest. Or actually, did Khan know Antidote? None of these fucking people have Antidote. Oh, hey there, Doobie-Doo. Long time no see. Yeah, I know some people... I've seen discussions on forums where people get real anxious about the Zelda timeline and how the games are all connected to each other. I think the series works better when you just take each entry as its own isolated thing, personally. Like, there are some series where they manage to kind of tie things together in sort of a fun way. For example, the Sparkster games, the Rocket Knight Adventures games, seemingly independent of each other. It's like you got sort of common themes where you've got the Kingdom of Elberos or whatever, and then he's fighting some sort of weird animals, whether it's pigs or wolves or frogs or what have you. In the new Rocket Knight game, the one that was released on Xbox, they actually have a little story tab on the main menu where they actually... Oh, thank you for the host there, Doobie-Doo. I guess my on-screen notifications from Streamlabs must be busted or something, but yes, I see that you are hosting me, and thank you. Was that a counter? Sweet. We are absolutely not doing Final Battle today. We've got a lot of grinding to do to get our characters up to speed, and to be honest, my weekend is kind of booked. So I've got dinner with the family tonight. Tomorrow, I actually got a call from my boss this morning. I'm working tomorrow, so there will be no regular Friday stream like usual. Saturday, I've got my L5R game now, as well as work. I might have some time Sunday, but only for a few hours, and that might not even be enough time to finish the final battle. So yeah, there's a good chance that we don't finish this until next Wednesday. Okay, this is it, guys. Let's bear his Arctic Blast in Japanese. I don't think that's what he said there. I don't think he said, bear my Arctic Blast in Japanese right there. Anyways, I was saying something about... Oh, serious? I missed that earlier. Okay. Yeah, I'm not used to having this much chat activity, so I'm falling behind here. Okay, the Guado were Seymour's race. Okay, yeah. Do you even meet any other Guado? Or I think they might have had a town or something. It's been a long time since I played Final Fantasy X. Oh, I think I remember them too. Actually, I remember there was a Guado town in, yeah, Final Fantasy X too. I think I remember. And they talk about how Seymour was a bad egg. I was talking about... Damn it, the time... Oh yeah, the Rocket Knight games. The newest Rocket Knight game, they had a little story tab on the main menu where they kind of tie the stories of all the previous games together. So it's like, even though they were originally intended to be kind of independent, they took the separate stories and combined them together into a little timeline that kind of ties into the story of the new game. And it's just kind of a neat little side thing where they don't emphasize it too much, but it's a cool little detail that they just threw in there for fun. So unfortunately, Khan is too slow to get XP. He can heal this guy for like 10 XP. Yeah, I don't think it's just me. These Scenario 1 models are so... The texture detail is just so weak compared to the later scenarios. Oh, I think I'm all in on this Harpy now. Look at that fucking Harpy, yeah. Doesn't even have a proper face. I think I want to milk these early maps for all I can. Oh, you know what? There's no way back up. Or no, we can use the ramps to get back up. Because yeah, basically for the next 2 maps, all of the enemies can poison us, which is actually kind of dangerous. Actually, Irene can heal people for a little bit of XP as well. They should have put more enemies on this first map. They should have either put more enemies on this map, or they should have split the party to make it easier to spread out your guys and have them all farm up at once. Did Murasame get benched in Scenario 1? Why is he so far behind everyone else? You know what? Now that I think of it, I think that's right. I think I did have him on the B team. Okay, that's not gonna give us much XP there. I think Hagane actually still needed a sword level. Sweet! Okay, and that's his promotion. I don't think it's even worth wasting the extra round trying to farm XP on those guys. Eldar will probably get her level up here, so we'll just... basically everyone who's level 20 will just sit tight for the next map. Oh, never mind. Apparently... Oh, hey! Oh, so instead of the stat-up items, we get Orichalcum? Or I guess they do expect you to run through this dungeon multiple times, since you gotta do it at minimum once for Symbios and once for Median. Hell, I'll probably do it a third time for with Julian, just to clear the damn thing. Yeah, so our level 20 and promoted guys can just sit tight. So what else can we talk about for the, like, 4 hours of grinding that we have ahead of us? It's probably going to be more like 2 or 3, but still. Oh, wow, Khan... Yeah, Khan got taken out of the party very early, as I recall. IIRC. I get so mad when people use internet abbreviations in real-life conversation. So yeah, I should probably not be a hypocrite and do the same thing here on stream. Okay, those ghouls have a bit more movement points than I thought they would. You know what? I'm gonna get Ratchet to do the dragon here. In general, I've noticed that my list of stream topics tend to be actually super broad when it comes to, like, they'll be tangentially related to the game I'm playing, but mostly it's just whatever game I happen to be playing will get me thinking about just some other bigger topic that applies to just a lot of games in general. And so as a result, I end up talking about a lot of the same things no matter what game I'm playing. Like, difficulty and balancing is a big thing for pretty much any video game that you play. Actually, this will be good to know. Does Obright need axe levels? He actually does. Holy shit. So is he better? Or you know what? He was using maces. Right, this was... So Scenario 1 was before I really understood the weapon leveling system. So yeah, a lot of our party members here have less than optimized XP distribution among their different types of weapons. So that's another thing we gotta fix here while we're grinding up. Oh, that's so adorable. Are they patrolling the perimeter here? Around their golem buddy in the center? It's like, hey, us green guys have got to stick together on the outskirts of our giant green pit. Okay, and then does Murasame need sword levels? I'm actually kind of impressed at my ability to remember these guys' names after so much time. It's almost like we're friends now, like I've gotten to know them. But with that said, yeah, that means we want to level up shurikens. He doesn't have shurikens. This was before we knew that ninjas could use shurikens. Yeah, this is the kind of thing I was talking about not knowing what the hell's going on with weapons in Scenario 1. Nobody else is going to be able to... Or actually, Eldar might be able to. Yeah, we'll get Eldar to solo that dragon. Get Symbios to hold tight. Dark Souls is also just a general topic that applies to every video game in existence. There isn't a video game under the sun that can't be compared to Dark Souls. Did she? She was poisoned, but she didn't take poison damage, did she? Maybe I just missed it. So Hegane's done now. I don't want him moving up and fighting dragons. Man, Noon doesn't even have any good magic yet. Honestly, I think the whole difficulty discussion is maybe my favorite topic in gaming, even though I know people are probably sick to death of it now in the wake of Sekiro. I just find the notion that, really when it comes to just the idea that games are an interactive experience and each player's experience of a game is going to be completely different from everyone else's, that's kind of the thing that's great about video games. And I think the notion of difficulty in games really is the best example of that. One of the biggest factors in a person's overall experience of a game is going to be how much difficulty they had with that game, and that's going to be depending on the player's level of skill. So a person who is good at video games will have a completely different experience with, for instance, a Sekiro or a Dark Souls than a person who is bad at video games. And then so that's kind of the notion of, so do we just take away the difficulty so that they can still play the game even though they'll have kind of a completely different type of experience, or do we try to lessen the difficulty to such a level that the less skilled players will be challenged to the same degree that the skilled players will be? Oh yeah, Khan's in that sweet spot where they're getting the really big level ups. Honestly, I think Justin's in around that range too. Like, I think the ideal, like the theoretical ideal, is just like every difficulty, or actually, if we want to go pure theoretical, the ideal approach to difficulty in games, I think, would be to just have the game read your mind and just be able to instantly tell how good or bad you are at video games, and then just automatically readjust everything so that everybody experiences the same level of challenge, or the desired amount of challenge. Barring that, though, I think the best solution that we've come up with so far is you have different settings where players can just choose whether they want and even that's not necessarily ideal, because the game doesn't necessarily know best what level of challenge you want. Like, maybe I'm good at video games, but I don't like being challenged at video games. Maybe I'm good at games, but I like having an easy time with my games. So I'm not necessarily looking for a challenging experience. So even apart from player skills, there's just the notion of player tolerance of challenge and difficulty in general. But yeah, like I said, that's. I'm sure people are sick to death of these types of discussions at this point, just because it's all over the internet these days with the whole. I can't remember where the article was, but there was a couple articles somewhere about it that got everyone talking. People are starting to get poisoned to death now, so I think we're going to start to work on finishing this map. But yeah, as far as where I stand on the whole is games too hard or too easy debate, I kind of agree and disagree with both sides, as I do with many things. Mostly among the people I follow in like on Twitter and stuff, most people seem to fall on the every game needs adjustable difficulty for maximum accessibility. That seems to be the most common opinion I see among people I follow on Twitter and whatnot. And I guess my response to that is, like, basically, yes, but... the problem is that there's a bunch of people on the kind of hardcore gamer side, the people who say these games shouldn't have easy difficulties or accessibility options. And I think there's just a tremendous amount of bad arguments on that side that turn people against the whole get good argument. And I think there is a somewhat sensible case to be made for get good, or at least that's better than the case that's being made around the internet in general. Which is it's, I don't know, personally from my experience, I used to be, like, as basically all throughout my childhood, I was terrible at video games. I could never beat any video game without cheating. Nothing, like, I owned Mario Brothers 3, Mario Brothers 1, a bunch of other games on NES for years and years. I played those games daily for, like, over a year, and was never able to beat any of them. Mind you, I say bad at video games, it's also just because I was, like, 4 years old at the time as well. Most 4-year-olds are bad at pretty much everything in general. So yeah, exactly, Remiko. The only way I was able to ever beat games is with cheat codes and Game Genie. That's the only way I could ever see the full content of a video game. And that sort of informed my approach to video games in general going into, you know, the years. I got used to cheating at games, and so I never took the effort to get good at video games in general. I cheated my way through most of the 16-bit era as well. The games I was persistent about playing, I could eventually beat, but yeah, it took a lot of time and effort. Like, I eventually beat like a bunch of 16-bit games, all the ones that I played to death, basically, I could eventually beat and get good at. Some of them I got really good at. I managed to beat... got to the point where just for a lark, every day when I'd get home from school, I would play Rocket Knight Adventures on the hardest difficulty setting, which is one hit, one kill mode. It's actually kind of ridiculous, and I eventually managed to do it. I think a couple times I managed to beat Rocket Knight Adventures on the hardest difficulty setting. And the other big kind of epiphany for me was, I can't remember where it was. There was an article, I think it was on Shoryuken or something. No, it would have been on shmups.com, I think, about just the idea of arcade culture and the notion that arcade games, contrary to popular belief, are not meant to be quarter munchers and are actually meant to be played on 1 credit. And if you want the full experience of it out of an arcade game, that's actually the way that you should play them. And I thought that was an interesting idea. It was completely contrary to my notion of what an arcade game was, you know, quarter munchers and all that idea. They made these games as bullshit, unfair, difficult as possible for the sake of sucking quarters out of players. Which is apparently not really the case. They're actually meant to be deep, challenging games that take a lot of effort to get good at. And that's what keeps people coming back, the notion that you can eventually master a game and beat it on 1 credit. That's what gives the game their longevity. You're going to get a lot more longevity out of a gamer who's hooked on a game and trying to 1cc it than you will someone who just pumps, you know, 8 quarters into the thing, yeah, credit feeds their way to the ending and then never plays it again. That's the way I approached most MAME games that I played at the time before I came across this. Yeah, I think there was this 1cc culture or arcade culture article that I came across. And so I tried it. I played a bunch of arcade games playing for 1cc, and the whole idea is you never continue. Just that continue screen comes up, and you just mash the buttons and let that timer tick down to 0. You always start a new credit from the beginning of the game. And sure enough, there's a lot of depth to those games. You can actually get really good at them to the point where you can 1cc a... trying to think of the ones. The big ones was the Strikers 1945 series I really liked. I think I only ever 1cc'd the first one. The Parodius games I really liked. I 1cc'd Sexy and Gokujo Parodius. What else? There was a beat 'em up. Oh yeah, Gaiopolis, which I played here on stream a while back. And yeah, it was kind of like a whole new paradigm of gaming. And it's like, wow, I've been missing out all these years by just credit feeding my way through games, by cheating my way through. It just, yeah, it was like the experience of video games in general is now completely different as a result of this brand new approach I've taken to playing games. And I kind of cheated myself out of that all these years by not taking the plunge. And I sort of took it on voluntarily, but for a lot of other people, it was games like Dark Souls that got them into that whole mentality of mastering a game to, yeah, the notion that you need to master a game to get the most out of it. Yeah, for a lot of people, it was playing games like Dark Souls that got them into that whole mentality, and it's like, oh, it's a whole new world. I've been missing out all this time. And other people are cheating themselves by not, you know, being willing to challenge themselves and have this experience. And that's the somewhat more sensible version of the get good argument. At least the way I see it. I'm actually getting real hungry right now, so I'm going to take a quick snack break here to grab a dish of peanuts and also go to the bathroom. We'll be back in a minute. Okay. Yeah, I'd have to confirm that about Gauntlet, because I'm pretty sure I've seen Gauntlet 1cc's before. Mind you, most of that is just knowledge of the game. Like, you need to know you need to learn through trial and error where the secret food stashes are and stuff. And, you know, which enemy rooms you can safely, or that are which ones are worth powering through, and which ones to skip. But I do kind of agree with you that it's more trial and error in the case of Gauntlet rather than actual skill. I guess that's kind of the mark of good difficulty versus bad difficulty in the way I see it. I think Hide of Beast on YouTube has the same opinion too. I've seen him articulate it better than I have. But basically, when it comes to difficulty in games, the ideal is that it should be theoretically possible to beat or even to no-hit clear any given video game on your first try. At least theoretically, if you're like maximally on the ball or whatever. There should ideally be no unfair surprises that you could not have reasonably predicted or foreseen. Which is a really difficult ideal to live up to. But, yeah. Whereas the reverse of that is obviously a game where it's all trial and error, and it is impossible to make it through on your first time because you have to learn by dying. And I think Gauntlet is probably an example of that type of game. That's a good question. It depends on what you want out of shmups. Like, a lot of the shmup community, especially nowadays, is all, like, leaderboard competitive stuff. So if you're going to maintain the integrity of the competitive community, then yes, you need to have everyone on a level playing field, and yeah, just always include all of that stuff, no matter what. In terms of just experiencing the game and having a good time with it, a maximally good time of it, even, yeah, I would say I would rather remove the input lag myself. It depends on how integral it is to the game. Like, at some point, it depends on the degree of input lag and just how much it affects the experience. Like, it's, for example, you could improve the controls of an old game. It's like, hey, we made Tomb Raider now without the tank controls. And it's like, well, the game's kind of balanced around tank controls, and it's not really Tomb Raider anymore if you just change the control scheme completely. So if the lag is that critical to the game, where it just suddenly trivializes everything, or dramatically changes the experience, then yeah, I think that would be a bad thing to take that away. I seriously doubt that it's the case, though. When you get to the point where you're counting frames of input lag, you're probably dealing with a, yeah, like a competitive leaderboard type community, which I've never really been big into myself. It's actually kind of funny. You know, I think poison damage might be based on your character's level. Or maybe it's max HP? I don't know, it seems like the high-level characters are taking proportionally more damage relative to their maximum HP compared to the low-level characters. Yeah, look at Hagane there. Taking twice as much damage from poison as our monk, despite having less than twice as much maximum HP. Huh. I'd have to try it. Super Ghouls and Ghosts is actually a game I'm reasonably familiar with. It's actually a good example of the kind of 1cc gaming culture that I've been talking about here too. I I completely reversed my opinion on Super Ghouls and Ghosts once I started like trying to actually beat that thing on one credit or with no continues. Actually, Super Ghouls and Ghosts and what's the one on Genesis? I think it's just Ghouls and Ghosts. I've gone from being like one of my most hated games of all time to basically my favorite game. I've been trying for years and years to 1cc the Ghouls and Ghosts games and have still yet to succeed. And it's all my fault. Those games aren't or there's a bit of unfairness, some unpredictable bullshit, but it's not that frequent. See, the trick to having a good 1cc experience is that you have to have a sufficient amount of depth in the game. Like, it needs to be... Like, the downside of the 1cc experience is that you're replaying the start of the game so often. It gets repetitive after a while, seeing that first stage over and over and over again. So what you need is for the game to have a sufficient level of depth to it, where it's not so bad to be replaying that first stage, where there's always still room to improve, new secrets to uncover, new speed optimizations to be made. It's like, oh, you're tired of doing the first stage? Learn to do it faster. Learn to uncover the secrets so you can get a higher score and more one-ups. Learn to do it and, yeah, collect all the power-ups to build up to the next stage. That's the other thing about arcade difficulty, or that good 1cc balanced game, is everything carries forward. Like, it actually matters how well you do on the first stage, because you're collecting and losing power-ups whenever you get hit. Every secret you uncover carries forward, every hit you take loses you power and carries forward, every life you lose is a big deal in the long run. Like, everything you do in those early stages matter. That's why I don't like the idea of frequent checkpoints in games. Because it means that everything you did before the checkpoint doesn't matter anymore. Whereas, yeah, arcade games actually have consequences that carry forward. And so that's what adds the depth. You can replay... It's like, sure, you've played the first stage of Super Ghouls and Ghosts a dozen times. Is that enough times for you to know to get through it without taking any damage, and collecting all of the hidden power-ups, and getting through it as efficiently as possible so as not to waste too much time? You actually have to run through that first stage a lot more than 12 times to reach that level of mastery, probably more than 20 times. And so that's what makes a good 1cc style game. That's why arcade games need to be challenging to maintain that level of interest over the long run. Like, a lot of console games aren't made in that style. Like, I tried doing the whole 1cc challenge in, like, Mega Man games, for example. And they're fine games for what they are if you play them in their intended way, but Mega Man games don't have that same level of depth. There are no consequences, really, for failure in, hell, I usually max out on lives by the time I'm done with an average Mega Man game. So it's like, you know, lose a life, doesn't really matter, I'll get that back eventually. Take damage, doesn't really matter, I'll get healed back at the end of the stage anyways. Nothing you do in a Mega Man game is consequential. You're just playing through those games to see the sights and get to the end. And that's where the notion of challenging yourself comes in. Where the longevity comes in a Mega Man game is you got a character who kind of improves in power level over the course of the game. You can do Buster-only challenges. You can kind of improve. You can kind of optimize your... Or there's actually, no. Scratch that. Mega Man is more of like an exploration style game, if that makes any sense. Just the notion of trying out all of the different weapons and seeing what they can do. All the different approaches you can take. Mega Man is a game that has replayability, just on the notion that you have so many different weapons and powers and stuff that you can make it different for yourself every time just by playing in a different way. So you get your replayability that way out of a Mega Man game. And you can do it that you can challenge yourself, challenge yourself to try to do it no continues or no, or I guess no continues would just be 1 CC, but no deaths or no damage or those kinds of challenge runs. But I think the average person is getting longevity out of a Mega Man game by mastering the different weapons and seeing all the cool things you can do with them. We're taking a fuck ton of damage from this poison. Eldar doesn't really need levels anymore. To vista! You know, pretty much all of our Symbios guys are getting up past level 20. If we level them all the way up to parity with Julian's team, I think they might actually end up being better in the end. Right, I was commenting on the lack of spells from some of our low-level spellcasters. That's what it's all about. That's what we've been gearing up to right there. Finally, after all this time, Khan can now cast support too. I don't know if we're ever going to get these level 14 and 15 Lobies up to speed. I never used to do this, but I've actually taken to I no longer hide my viewer count while I'm streaming now, just because I actually like to know if I'm talking to anyone, if I'm at any given time, or whether I should save a discussion topic till I actually have more than 0 viewers, for example. Because yeah, I've gone on big long rambling tangents before to an audience of 0. So I thought, you know what, maybe hold on to that one until someone's actually around to listen. So I can't help but notice that I've lost like 4 viewers since I started munching on these peanuts, so my apologies if you are disgusted by my snacking on stream here. I was legitimately starving. My stomach was crying out to me and I could not go on any... generally on the early parts of a stream, like if nobody's around for the start of the stream, it's usually a good 30 minutes to an hour before anybody shows up. Okay, thankfully Irene heals herself. But yeah, once I get going, then yeah, typically I won't reach a situation where everybody leaves and I'm streaming to 0 viewers. It's generally at the beginning of the streams. I've noticed kind of a snowball effect here on Twitch, where it's like once you build up the viewers, that causes more viewers to come in. So it's like once I go for like the big long 6 to 7 hour streams that I get the higher viewer counts. Sadly, I've not had the my schedule has not worked out such that I'm able to do the big long streams anymore. I typically go 3 to 4 hours a day these days. How many enemies do we even have left here? 0. Let's finish this. It's not even popularity necessarily, though. I'm talking like individual sessions. Like I start with 0 viewers, and then someone who follows me takes notice and pops in. And maybe a couple more. Maybe it takes a couple people to get the snowball rolling. Now I've got 3 viewers, and now I'm like maybe the second most viewed person playing Shining Force 3. Now a few more people pop in, and then a few more. It's like the more people pop in, the higher you show up on that. Not only that, but people tend to stay tuned in once they're viewing, so it's like you're gaining viewers faster than you're losing them, you know? At least if you're not an awful streamer. I've actually had streams like that where I've noticed, like, oh, That graph is actually going down over time rather than up. Maybe it's time to go to bed. Actually, he might as well heal someone. It's funny the way healing works in this game, unlike with damage. Because the more you damage someone, the more XP you get. Not so with healing. You get just as much XP for healing 2 HP as you do for healing 20. I don't know, do we just power through to... Holy shit, Justin, you suck. Or does he just have a shitty weapon? How many of my guys are still poisoned here anyways? Oh, hey, this guy just straight up speaks English. Yeah, we got English voice acting here after all. Oh, I just saw the comment about Frank Zappa. That is actually kind of neat. I wonder if that's a... There's got to be a bunch of references in these games that I'm missing. Because, yeah, I think it was, yeah, Legal Freedom told us about the David and Hedva reference here. Apparently they're like a Japanese-Israeli singer-songwriter duo. Now we got the Frank Zappa thing here. I think that Uona guy might be a reference to something also, but I'm less sure of that one. You know, I don't think we're ever... I think it was a mistake to put the movement Pistachio on Synbios way back in the day. I don't think we ever want him to just charge forward recklessly. Yeah, none of our guys know Antidote, do they? Okay. Minotaurs are actually a little bit dangerous, so we want to, Actually, no, we don't, because, yeah, he's just gonna stay put unless we get in his range. So I think the plan right now is we're going to try to prioritize getting XP to our low-leveled guys. Once everyone's at level 20, we'll just dive to the bottom and see what's at the bottom. Don't these slash bats deal poison as well? Yeah, I'm pretty sure slash bat also poisons you with his crit. This is obnoxious. I think... What do we want to do with Khan? I'm actually going to move him over here just because I know these guys need healing. Man, aura is certainly a much more common thing in the later scenarios than Scenario 1. Like what, we got 2, potentially 3 party members who know aura in Scenario 3? As far as Hyperdimension Neptunia, I haven't played any of the mainline ones. I've played some of the spin-offs. I played... I forget what it's called, but it was basically the hack and slash, the like Dynasty Warriors ripoff. I think it was called Action Unleashed. And then I played a bit of the strategy RPG, which was Hyper Devotion Noir, I think it was called. Or it was like Blackheart Hyper Devotion Noir, something stupid like that. You know the type of stupid names those games have. Actually, bigger than the hunger. I noticed that I was starting to get a little bit, like, tingly from the coffee, which is usually what happens when I drink too much coffee and combined with too little food. So with that said, even though I just took a break, I think that dish of peanuts there actually got me ready for another coffee. But yeah, as I understand it, the mainline Hyperdimension Neptunia games are all like fairly traditional JRPGs, which, as we have stated previously, are not really my type of game anymore. Ooh, big hit there. I mean, the Minotaur is pretty beefy still, but yeah, Symbios just doesn't need the levels. I'm just gonna have him sit back and do nothing. I wonder if I can death these guys. It's not really worth it. We'll just go for maximum damage. He's not going to be able to do 50 damage with one hit. Oh shit, he would have. 53, would that have been enough? Did I fuck that up? Oh no! I fucked it up. Also, what am I doing dividing my healers? Yeah, Khan needs to get the fuck over here. That mist there is an excellent example of how the Sega Saturn can't do proper transparencies. Okay, I believe that was his ninja technique right there. Instead of, "Can you beat my ninja technique?" he just says, "Shine." Yeah, that's probably true, Mazewell. Yeah, I haven't looked into, or actually no, I think I've explained my position on filters on emulation, when emulating old games. I generally like them, but they don't show up well on stream. I'm not gonna risk finishing the battle too early. But yeah, if people are viewing the stream in like a smaller window, then it doesn't look very good. So I avoid them when I'm streaming. Oh god, Khan, you're killing me. Even more importantly, you're killing Murasame. That's right. Murasame is more important than I am. I can die, and it's fine, but if Murasame gets killed, yeah, it's all over. We can't have a stream anymore. Occasionally, but not often anymore. What was the last time I played a game off stream? Or you know what? I did a nice little off-stream run-through of Battlemania Daiginjo. I think it had come up on Twitter. Someone made a new patch for the game that changes the music in a kind of shitty way that it turns out that I don't really like. But yeah, and so I loaded it up. I loaded it up just to try it, And I ended up playing through the whole thing, because of course, you know, it's Battlemania. How am I not going to play it all the way through? Once I've started it, I just can't stop. Noon could be in some trouble here. Oh! I think Irene's got a turn before him, though, so she should be able to save his ass. Daigi and Joe, that would have been like 2 days ago. I think we're actually going to heal 3 here just for the extra healing. And also, occasionally I'll, that was not that much extra healing. Yeah, we gotta finish this map. Our guys are getting poisoned out. I'm trying to remember when the last time was. I tested out some Steam games about a week ago. I can't remember which ones now. It was, yeah, stuff that I would maybe want to play on stream. So it was more like stream related stuff where I was testing stuff. Okay, that doesn't count either. Fair enough. Or you know what? There's no point using Soul Steel though if it's just gonna kill him anyways. Often the way it happens is something I'll just get the urge to, like, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but my mindset is generally kind of scattered brain. So like whenever I get a notion to do something, I'll just like it's on YouTube is a good example. I'll like get a scene from a movie stuck in my head, so I'll just instantly go to YouTube and watch that scene and then just jump down the rabbit hole of related movies there. I do that with video games sometimes, where it's like, oh, this video game will get mentioned on Twitter. Or a song from a video game will get stuck in my head, and it's like, oh, I've got to go play that video game right now. I'll just pop in for a moment just to get my fix, and then pop out, and then I end up playing through to completion. That's the most common way that I end up playing video games off stream. Mostly retro stuff. Actually, I think I loaded up Vandal Hearts just recently, and because yeah, I've been talking about that one a little bit lately during the Shining Force playthrough. So yeah, I did a, not a full playthrough, mind you, but I think I went through the first, like, 2 chapters of Vandal Hearts, like, 3 weeks ago. Hey there, Dusty Roads. Yep, you are back in time to see still more grinding. Oh hey, we can actually get the Slash Bat. Yeah, I think I actually still got about a half an hour left before I've got to go, so yeah, we got... This will actually probably be enough to get the Symbios team. He's actually stuck in that pit down there. He can't touch us. Yeah, the walls are too high for him to climb up. That's actually really funny. However, Obright's got to get right down there to be able to hit him. Yeah, now we're at the point... Oh, hey, we got his weapon level, so that isn't actually a total waste. Just gonna grab my coffee real quick. There's a massive disparity between our strongest and weakest party members right now. Alright, we got some Minotaurs left, but I don't think I have time to kill them before our poisoned dudes bite it. Okay, I guess just to close off the whole difficulty in games discussion, because yeah, speaking of things that you missed out on, Dusty Roads, if you wanted to hear my hot takes on is games too hard and should they have an easy mode, yeah, that all went on during like the last hour of streaming here. I think my favorite take on the whole subject, was from a tweet from a dude I follow on Twitter named Stuart Jip. So yeah, on the subject of difficulty in video games, he says, I'm paraphrasing him here, but it was something along the lines of, shut up, shut the fuck up, oh my god, shut up already. And I think that's a perfect place to tie off our discussion on difficulty in video games. So she's gonna die if she doesn't heal herself, and Hagane is gonna die if he doesn't get healed. See, this is where aura helps. Also, since the map's about to be done, she might as well do the heal 4. Yeah, big difference between the heal 3 and the heal 4, it turns out. Oh no! So if he has any kind of... So the problem with this is that... Okay, good, he can cure himself at least. So yeah, as far as our approach to these, this side dungeon here, most of what we do doesn't really matter. The fights are pretty easy, but on the odd chance that somebody dies, it actually really sucks, because death is the one thing that we can't reverse from map to map. We don't have to worry about conserving MP or anything like that since we get it all back. We don't have to worry about taking too much damage because that all comes back between fights, but we absolutely don't want anyone to die because then they're gone for good unless we abort this run. Yeah, Count is just fucked. He's never gonna get up to the same level as everyone else. Yeah, as typically happens when it comes to tactical RPG leveling, the rich get richer. Oh, is this our first time clearing this map? How many floors are in this place anyways? Please tell me it's not 10 again. Yeah, I think for the rest of the day, we're just gonna dive down here. Oh, hey, we got dragons. You know, we don't care about dragons anymore. We got puppets in the party. We can recruit anyone we want. We can recruit this griffin down here. It's probably better than a dragon. Oh yeah, so Symbiosis is poisoned now. It's not very good. I'd be a lot happier if he weren't. Oh, is it 10 floors still? That's not good. What the hell are Symbiosis dagger levels right now anyways? Seems like even... Okay, 0. That explains that. It's like, it seems to me that it's still a mithril dagger. He should be doing a decent amount of damage. Nope. 0 levels in daggers. Okay, so we want to make sure we split up our healers this time. Yes, that's true. You don't get specials if you have 0 in a weapon. Actually, yeah, the whole weapon leveling system is actually kind of unique, and just the way it's tied into the way you get critical hits and everything. Again, it makes everything kind of dice rolly, because there's big swings in damage, just based on whether you crit or don't. Although it's actually not quite as bad as in Shining Force 2, where crits were a lot more unreliable, but a lot more impactful. Oh shit, he's coming in for us right away. Should we just go to the bottom? Final Fantasy Tactics does have critical hits, but they are quite rare. And I'm not sure if it's even double damage. I think it might be less than double damage for crits in FFT. They're certainly not a very big deal, though. I don't know how to distribute my dudes here. We'll just do it like this. The thing about Final Fantasy Tactics is that in general, it's kind of it's a bit less of a less brutal game. Death is less swift than it is in Shining Force games in general. That's not good. She's my healer, and if she can't reliably heal people, then they're gonna die of poison. But yeah, Final Fantasy Tactics, it'll generally take you several hits to kill and be killed, and your accuracy for certain types of enemies is going to be very low also. Like knights, for example, you'll have like a 50-50 chance to hit them if you just do a straight-up frontal assault. Bigger than crits in Final Fantasy Tactics is status effects. Applying status effects is really, really potent in Final Fantasy Tactics, but it's all percentage-based, so it's like you'll have a 50-50 chance to charm. Which I actually have no problem with, because it's a calculated risk. It's like, oh, I can go for the guaranteed damage with the magic spell. See, the thing about knights is, it's actually good, because in Final Fantasy Tactics, there's a lot more you can do than just attack enemies. So it's like, yeah, like a full frontal assault on a knight is not the way to go when it comes to dealing with knights in FFT. You're going to want to use magic, or you're going to want to disable them with status effects or with speed downs, and you got a lot of different nasty things you can do to enemies. Debilitate their stats, yeah, slow them, weaken their attack strength. Poison is actually really effective in that game too. This is actually really bad. More and more of our guys are getting poisoned and paralyzed. It's like, I'm pretty sure they deliberately chose all the enemies with the most obnoxious status effects for these side dungeons, and I don't like it. I guess most of it is my fault for leaving Grace on the bench. It's been a while since Noon learned a new spell. Also, one thing that Final Fantasy Tactics has is it actually cares about facing and positioning. So elevation matters, hitting from the side or behind matters. So yeah, there are ways around the enemy's defenses, and yeah, ways that you can... I'm actually going to sleep this guy, because I'm not sure we're going to get him in one round. Yeah, just other options in general for dealing with enemies. A one-shot here would actually be really nice. I actually really like Eldar's Japanese voice here. And you know, the Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, the sequel, actually almost went a bit overboard with it. Where status effects are basically overpowered in Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. So I think we need Khan on the other side after all. Because yeah, Irene's in serious trouble here. Yeah, Advance had a lot of interesting ideas, but and it's fun to play around with all the different classes. There are a lot of unique ideas when it comes to the jobs in that game, I think, even compared to the original. The problem I had was balancing, though. It was generally too easy for my liking. Like, yeah, you had to really hold yourself back, I found, to get any kind of challenge out of that game. And yeah, part of what I discovered is that almost every enemy in Tactics Advance is vulnerable to status effects, and all the status effects are really, really good. So I found the best party was just a party full of archers, and you just charm arrow on all of the enemies until it sticks. The judge thing I thought was interesting because it meant you couldn't just lean back on a all-in strategy on one particular type of class. You can't do all magic, you can't do all physical attackers, you need a balance of everything. Now what gets annoying is that some of your dudes just end up sitting out certain fights. Oh no! Okay, I underestimated these blue dragons. Fuck! Son of a bitch! That really makes me angry. Yeah, I should have respected these guys more. We're getting to the point where they're kind of outmatching our party members. The Hellhounds are garbage, but the Blue Dragons are actually... They're actually enemies from beyond the end of the previous scenarios. Yeah, the original Synbios team would have never fought anything as tough as a Blue Dragon. So I think we're going to TP out here. Yeah, Synbios doesn't have any way to get healed either, so he'll go down right away. Might as well egress to save the money. So first we're going to revive Obright. Okay, so I think almost everyone. I think we got 2 or 3 party members who are missing promotions here. The exclamation point wasn't enough. We had to pop out the text to know how exciting it is. The light of Jesus will fall upon you. Fistmaster. Brilliant. Oh, we got more. We got a Berserker. Got a Master Ninja. Cool. Okay, let's check out some portraits then. Oh yeah, we got a... I didn't cure the poison on my poison dudes last time I egressed out of that dungeon, did I? Yeah, I left everyone poisoned when we popped out of that dungeon and went back in. Yeah, that would have gone a lot more smoothly if I would have remembered to clear all of this the first time around. This is more than half of our fucking party poisoned here, by the way. Okay, now let's go to base and see what these guys look like in their shiny new outfits. Their shiny new Shining Force outfits. Okay, so she's blue now. Oof, and she, yeah, got the creepy staring at the camera face. Looks like Hagane did not level up here. Mascarin we've kind of seen already. She's purple now. Purple seems to be a common color for promoted dudes. Oh, Finding. Have I not put him in the party yet? I think he still needs tons of levels. Ooh, Khan isn't there yet. I actually got a lot of people who still need it. Holy shit, Ratchet's not there yet? Wow, we got a lot of people who still need help. Okay, he is promoted, he just... Yeah. Instead of being blue, he's like purple-blue. Elders, yeah, Elder's white now. She actually looks pretty cool. I like her portrait now. And her outfit. I like the big shield now. She's got a bigger shield. Obright is brown again. Wasn't he brown to begin with? Did he just go back to his old outfit? With maybe some bigger horns on the helmet? Not a fan of this. She is not nearly as cute anymore. Yeah, Wolfman, I don't know. I like the new sprite, but the portrait, I don't know. Hayward's looking pretty dope, though. I like Hayward. Yeah, a lot of these new portraits, it's like, oh, by the way, we need a third tier of promotions for all the old characters, and we need them tomorrow. Please draw them all for us. It's like the style is completely different. I've noticed that bit of style mismatch on a lot of the character portraits in this game, but, Oh, also, I thought I remembered vaguely browsing something here on the walkthrough. Oh, you sneaky bastard. Here he is. Yeah, so that's this guy. Okay, apparently that means he won't join us. So apparently this guy's a recruitable party member. I guess he'll only join the Julian force, I guess? Oh, incidentally, before we go back in and clean up the dungeon, I just want to check and see. We'll do a head count here, so... Symbios... Or actually, right, this guy gives us our transfer. Okay, so Symbios here is the full 12 party members plus 5. Yeah, we haven't used Finding at all yet. I guess he can replace Eldar as a natural swap. So that's easy. I think I gotta put Grace back in. Yeah, she can replace Obright. Okay, so Symbios is 12 plus 5. Doing a final score count for how much stuff I missed in each scenario. Median is 12 plus 3, so we missed more characters probably in his scenario. Or maybe there's just fewer characters to get. I just kind of assumed that the different parties would have the same number of characters available. And then Julian is, yeah, 12 plus 4. Soon to be 5. And we missed Spirial, too, so he could actually be 6. And I guess we missed 2 characters in Scenario 1, so I guess like 19 or 20, I think, might be the maximum number of characters in each scenario. And yeah, once again, I'm telling you, if this game had a cutscene skip, I would totally replay this at some point down the line, just to go for that 100% clear and see what else we can find here. He's got his own theme music. Oh, gross. I don't want this guy anymore. So yeah, now he's on the team. You know what this guy reminds me of? Like, I imagine here that he's actually talking to Julian, which makes me think of like him doing Senor Card Gauge. If you guys know Homestar Runner, I imagine this guy having the Senor Card Gauge voice here. Hey there, little girl. Wanna be my apprentice? It's like even if you're a dude, he'll call on you like you're a lady, you know. Anyway, so now Julian is, yeah, 12 plus 5 party members. Honestly, yeah, if it's my second time playing through the game and if I'm not all about getting the authentic experience as much as possible. I might even be willing to fast forward through if I played this again. So what's he about? He's level 20, so he's not promoted yet. But he seems to be promoted. He seems to have his first promotion just based on his stats. And he's another Fistyman, but he doesn't have magic, so he's not actually a monk. Did we really need another party member at this point? This seems wasteful. I'd rather give him to the Symbios army. Or, no, the Median army. Because he's actually missing quite a few party members. As far as I know, you only have one full party worth of dudes. Like, unlike the previous scenarios, your bench warmers aren't involved in the battle at all. So really, I only need one full party's worth of, wow! 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 dudes still to promote. The only reason I'm leveling up my benched guys is because I'm really curious just to see what they look like when they're promoted. Also, it's pretty easy. Like, they're gaining a level pretty much every 2 turns. So as long as I just sit still and do nothing with my guys who have promoted already, they shouldn't take too long to get up to speed. Because, yeah, now the way it works is, yeah, instead of leveling up 12 characters all at once, I'm only leveling up 6, so this should go twice as fast to get the rest of these guys. Yeah, Irene's new outfit is actually pretty cool. I like it. Oh, okay. I was about to say, I don't think Finding's actually upgraded his sword since since we originally ejected him from the party. What does he have on, anyways? Oh, fuck! Yeah, he actually doesn't, doesn't have a good sword. That's fine, though, because I think he gets full XP anyways. Actually, Murasame can go this way, so we need to level up 6 dudes, so we'll go 3 on one side, 3 on the other. Actually, maybe it's 7 dudes we need. Oh no, that's right, Grace is only here for healing. Yeah, honestly, I'm probably making this grinding stuff twice as time-consuming as it needs to be. I don't know. I really like seeing, character sprites. I like looking at them, and so I will waste an extra hour just to be able... And I know I could look them up online, but no, it's not the same. It's not the same. Oh wait, no, what am I doing? Irene's leveled up already. Oh wow, he's got some crits with this rapier at least. Is he gonna steal another kill? He's actually gonna promote faster than all the guys who have been in through the dungeon twice already. Also, I think this might be the first time we've gotten to see Finding in action a whole bunch. Like, just in combat. I don't think we used him at all in Scenario 1. And, just looking at him now, his beak is kind of silly looking. Oh, I gotta get shurikens for Murasame too. You know what? I won't even bother. I'd have to level up the shurikens for them to be worth a damn. Why the hell did I move Frank forward? He doesn't need levels either. Khan's the one. Did I not? Oh, I probably thought he was level 1 instead of 11. Yeah, just look at that. Look at that gauntlet on Khan there. Yeah, the graphics have gotten so much better since Scenario 1. Yeah, I can't believe they give you so few lizard men here. There should be at least twice as many lizard men. Just to make it easier to level up. So once we get all of our guys to level 20, I'm just going to rush the bosses and dive down as far as I can. And yeah, we'll see what there is to see at the bottom of all this. Probably a new, like, super sword or something that we won't even need to beat the game. But still, it'll be fun to look at. You know, I think I read somewhere that you actually do need to complete the final dungeon here 3 times in order to collect all the loot. Like, there actually is a new ultimate sword for each character each time you go through with the different parties. Oh, Khan is so slow. That's what his problem is. Justin, too. I remember he had that problem in Scenario 1. Yeah, movement really is often the most important stat in tactical RPGs. Okay, so Ratchet's done. I'm not gonna use him anymore. Watch him get the counter here. Lizard Man with the frickin' critical hit. He's the one enemy in this dungeon that doesn't have a super obnoxious critical. Everything else in this dungeon is either poison or paralyze if they get the crit on you. So Finding kind of stole the kills from everyone here. Whatever, he'll be done with pretty soon at this rate. Finding, considering the fact that he's got basically the worst sword in the game, he's actually hitting pretty hard here for his level. Maybe we were wrong to exclude him from the party in Scenario 1. Oh, that sound means I probably gotta leave pretty soon. I don't want to, though. I want to finish my levels. I hate leaving stuff unfinished on stream here, so we're gonna... Yeah, there's no way Khan's getting up in time. But we'll see if we can't finish off any of the others in the next 5 minutes. Frozen fish. I think, yeah, Finding was the leader of the B team, I think, in Scenario 1. So yeah, we only got to see him for the one battle. Hey there, Legal Freedom. Yeah, you're just in time to see me probably sign off for the day. Yeah, we got a bunch of grinding to do. And you know, yeah, I think the general advice I got from the Shining Force 3 experts out there, that it's worth your while to keep your entire party up to speed on levels, ended up shaking out in the end. Because not only does it matter that I failed to level up my B teams at the end of each scenario, it matters that I failed to level up my main party too, so now we have to go back and make up this deficit. Got a bunch of people here who need like 10 levels to reach their second promotion. Actually, if anyone's damaged here, we can have him just... Yeah, Khan is way behind. Sadly, I don't think we're going to get to see Khan's promotion here. Yeah. Okay, we'll just finish up this map then. Speedy, speedy. Actually, let's see if Justin sucks badly enough to not one-shot this guy. Yep, there you go. Good job. Watch him get one-shotted or paralyzed or something from this harpy. Okay, but he still took more than 1 damage, which means that he sucks. Oh, Ratchet doesn't need the level. What am I doing? It's also the first time I've ever taken the time to, I would say no. The translation seems legit. I think I know... In fact, I'd say it seems quite high quality. I noticed, like, 1 or 2 typos, but nothing that stood up, and I couldn't even tell you where it was off the top of my head. But yeah, other than that, yeah, it seems like a very high-quality production. I was curious as to the accuracy of certain bits, and not even that I mind, but it's like stuff like Noon saying, "Bear my Arctic Blast" at the end of Scenario 2. I was a bit dubious as to whether that was in the original script or not, but I don't mind little bits of added humor and whatnot in my translations here. I'll have more to say on that, I guess, next time. I've actually got to leave right away here, so yeah, thank you all for dropping by. I probably won't get to stream this again until either Sunday or next Wednesday, so yeah, I will see you then.